Hey everyone, it's been a few days since I got started on my F-22, and I'm making some pretty good progress already. Honestly though, I think that this is about the most technically complicated model I've built probably since my Fine Mold Millennium Falcon. There's just so many little tiny bits and pieces and linkages and add-on detail parts that are just taking forever to attach. Like the weapons bay, the main ventral weapons bay, which you can see here, consists of about 40 parts when it's completely finished. As it is right now, this is about 15 or so, but but it also has 6 of these missile racks. Each of which is comprised of 4 individual parts. So add that up, you've got about 40 individual pieces to build the assembled missile bay. And that's not including the actual missiles themselves, which I think are made of probably about 8 or 9 parts apiece. So yeah, we're talking a lot of tiny little detail parts. And the side bays, which are tiny, including the racks, which can be displayed as deployed. They're made up of about 16 or 17 parts as well. Not to mention the landing gear itself is very finicky. This is the nose gear, and I think it was made of probably about 7 or 8 parts. The main landing gear likewise about 7 or 8 parts. The landing gear doors, each having linkages and hinges on them. Very, very technically complicated model. Like literally, there have just been hundreds of little tiny parts that have really been taxing my giant fingers to place them correctly. In fact, I'm not very good with tweezers. In fact, I don't even know where they've gone. There they are. But I've been really getting a lot better with my tweezers working on this thing, because with parts this small you've really got to have fine control with a pair of tweezers. But as it is, the internal parts are pretty much ready to be painted. They're all basically assembled. As it is, the missile bays, I've painted them black for now because I'm doing some pre-shading. Now that's something I haven't really talked about much in previous videos. But pre-shading is basically a method of adding depth and shadow to your model by essentially what I've done here is you probably can't get a good look at at how I painted it, but I'll include some photos. But like in all of the corners, in all of the areas that are covered by other parts, I've painted it a very in some parts a very heavy coat, in other parts a very soft coat. You might get a better look at one of the side weapons bays. You can see on the top by my finger there, it's very black, but on the bottom it's much lighter. The idea is that an airbrush is capable of producing a very translucent coat of paint. So you're able to vary how opaque it is, and with the black backing to it, you're able to produce kind of an artificial shadow. So wherever the lighter color is or wherever the darker color is, you'll end up with a darker top coat. Wherever it's a lighter color under your top coat, you'll end up with a highlight. It's something that I've done a lot with my Gundam models. Sometimes with, I believe I did it with my Viper Mark II, because there's a lot of places where parts come together that would create natural shadows. And I'm definitely going to be doing it with the fuselage of this. But as it is, like I said, I'm pretty much ready to start painting the white top coat for all the internal parts. All the insides of the weapons bays, landing gear bays, all the insides of the weapons bay doors, landing gear bay doors, etc., are all white. So hence why I'm doing the shading, because it really shows through with a white top coat. So I'm very happy with that. I've also got the cockpit predominantly assembled. You can see the cockpit tub here. I painted it kind of a medium dark gray, not like a really dark gray, but it's fairly dark, but not quite black. The instructions actually called for black, but according to my references, it's much more of a lighter, well, more of a dark mid-level kind of dark gray. So I tried to emulate that, and I'll be doing some dry brushing on it as well. I will not be using the pilot figure. I had originally intended to, I wanted to. I went ahead and I assembled the pilot figure. But when I went to try and do some test fitting, she don't fit so well. In fact, honestly, the pilot is terrible. I'm sorry, but Hasegawa, wow, you really dropped the ball with this figure. This looks and fits like something you'd expect from an old Revell kit from, you know, 10 or 15 years ago. You know, the detail's kind of soft. It doesn't fit in the cockpit very well. The hand controls barely fit in his hands. You have to tweak everything in order to get it to fit. In fact, the shoulder on the left arm, I had to drop and like shift way back just in order to get the hand onto the throttle control. And it looks completely gimpy. In fact, it even says in the instructions that you're supposed to carve out a section between the knees just to get it to fit around the center console, because they're not compatible. They do not fit together. So, wow, that's some pretty sucky design, I'm sorry to say. But like I said, it says right in the instructions that you're supposed to carve out that little bit of plastic. So I don't know why they didn't just design the figure a little bit better. I mean, this honestly kind of feels like it was something out of it was just, you know, a mold from a kit from 15 years ago that they just copied and added the new style helmet to, just so they could include it with the kit rather than, you know, sculpting an entirely new figure. Apart from that, though, otherwise the kit has been fantastic. I have encountered a little bit of flash here and there, mostly on the inside faces of the missile rails for the sidewinders and the side missile bays. Someone's honking at me outside. Weird. There's a couple of ejector pin. There it goes again. Shooting a video in here. Can't you shut up? There's a couple of ejector pin marks on the inside surface of the missile rails, and all four halves for the two racks had a little bit of flash around the ejector pin marks, which is surprising because when I bought this was a brand new kit. You know, it was the first. Actually, I think it was the second edition. I think the first edition, they had actually released it in like hot pink in as some kind of, you know, anime style limited edition kit before releasing it as an actual official proper F-22. I don't know what their story was, but it's a weird looking plane in hot pink. It just looks really unsettling. But yeah, so anyway, I've got pretty much all the sub-assemblies ready to go. I need to get some metallic paints from the hobby shop because I'm all out of the colors that I need. And I'm still trying to figure out how in the hell I'm going to paint the fuselage, because the F-22 has this very unique metallic sheen to it, and the instructions give you a recommendation for how to do that. It recommends that you use this new color of paint that Mr. Color has developed I believe there's two different shades. There's Super Iron and Super Stainless. They're apparently acrylic metallics that are supposed to be really, really good, but I have no access to them. So I'm going to have to come up with something else. Now, what I've been thinking of, well, I'm not sure if it's going to work. I'm going to have to do some experimenting, but what I'm thinking of doing is using Testors metallics as a base, and then the actual proper colors over top of that. I don't know if it's going to work. Like I said, I'm going to have to do some experimenting. If anyone out there has any advice, if they've tried similar methods and either had success or not, I'd really appreciate knowing. So that being said, where I'm at, I'm pretty happy with my progress so far. I think I should be able to start painting the internal parts this evening, possibly tomorrow. I'm not working tomorrow, which is nice, so I'll have lots of time to work. And then maybe buttoning up the fuselage that afternoon. Actually, one more thing I want to mention is they give you the option of opened or closed weapons bay doors. This is one of the closed doors for the main ventral weapons bay. As I've done in the past, as I did in fact with my ME262 a few months ago, in my tutorial series, was talking about creative ways to mask. These doors will be the perfect masks for the weapons bays to paint them. So I won't have to use, hundreds of feet of tape to close up all the internal parts. I mean, I'll still have to do the landing gear bays, but that won't be too difficult. I can just, use a little bit of white glue or something and attach these to the ventral surface over the weapons bays, and there you go, instant mask. It's perfect. So it's really a nice touch that they provided both the closed doors as a single part and the open doors as multiple components. So yeah, I'm gonna get started on painting. I think I am gonna hold off until tomorrow. I'm a little tired tonight, but like I said, aside from the minor issues with the pilot and a little flash here and there, it's an outstanding kit, and Hasegawa, wow, they really knocked it out of the park. So thanks everyone out there for watching, and happy modeling.